Starting off with the review of minutes, I noted a few things. I don't know if anybody else saw anything. I'll start on page 2 of the minutes. For the first one, under motion, the third bullet where it says, I'm sorry, the second bullet where it says staff recommends 1B through 1E into a condition to review as a, I think that should be a 9.5 foot or 9 foot 6 inch roof in addition to the 6 inch reduction. I think it was 10 inch was the, or 10 foot was the ceiling height and they reduced it to 9.5.
Yeah.
And then in addition, so it should either say 9.5 or it should say 9 foot 6 inches. And then for the third bullet where it says conquer, it should be respelled CONCUR.
We're going to conquer.
We conquered the staff recommendations. Yeah.
I did not catch that. Good catch, Eric.
And did anybody else see
I
anything that need to be changed? Okay. Tim,
I'm good.
we get a motion to approve the
I
minutes?
make a motion to approve the minutes with those changes.
I'll second it.
Okay. No discussion? You want to start the vote?
Aye.
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 All right, so minutes approved with those changes. And with that, we'll move into the first one. We have today 914 Newcastle.
Newcastle.
I thought the first one was, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the notes.
Yeah, Okay.
Yeah, sorry, 1203 Bay Street, the Cuthbert House, the awning replacement.
Well, good afternoon, respectable board members.
Good afternoon.
I hope you're all doing well. So the first application under new business is 1203 Bay Street, referred to as the Cuthbert House, which is currently, it's an inn. So the applicant is Mr. Chris Ram. The house is a prominent building along Bay Street, built around 1790. The request is for a replacement of a canvas awning. I'm going to just start showing some slides before we get into it. So the location you see on the map, on the zoning map, it's actually zoned T4HN, which stands for Historic Neighborhood District. We've got some shots from Google Street View. So this is like the front view, what it looks like backwards. It's backwards. No, this is the front view. And so this is the view
Where's the
fronting
red
Bay Street. This is the view, the side view of the house fronting Church Street. So you can actually see the green canvas awning above that rear door that they want to replace. So they have been to 2 HTRC meetings before today's meeting, on April 9th and April 23rd. At the first meeting, they presented this alternative number 1, which is a black metal awning that would have been custom built. They also presented a second alternative, which you can see is that also kind of a metal base style shed roof awning. Both were discussed at HTRC together with the contracted architects that the city contracts with, Metters Architecture of Charleston, HBF, and other and staff level. The thing is that when we look at the materials, the workmanship and so forth, they have to blend in with the architectural style, the architectural epoch, and staff didn't feel this metal black awning would fit onto the architectural style of the house, neither would it be representable in such a highly visible environment within the historic district. So we agreed to recommend, to suggest to the applicant not to pursue, which he was convinced that they said they were not pursuing this option any further. The second option or alternative was kind of the same deal, although we liked the shed roof awning more than just replacing the canvas with another canvas awning, which the applicant stated they wouldn't want because out of longevity reasons, they wanted something more durable, something more representative for that house and location. We agreed on a shed roof awning, not to be of metal, but out of wood, a framed wood structure with a metal roof with a standing seam metal roof on it. So this is the alternative number 2, option 1, that the applicant is pursuing and also has submitted to you for approval today. So with that being said, and with going through the options that were presented to staff in advance before the applicant is coming to you today, you can see the details of this shed roof awning, which will be or is proposed to replace the canvas awning. Looking at the location, looking at the property, looking at how everything fits in, not only on the structure itself, but also within the historic district, we have these 7 integrity guidelines that we go by. So starting with the location and looking at what I presented to you just before, that shed roof style, we feel very positive about this proposal, because the location, it's a highly visible location. The proposed awning, the proposed shed roof style meets the architecture, meets the architectural epoch and the neighborhood setting. The design also it blends in well with the architectural design, with the federal era style of the house. The setting is highly visible. It actually matches a kind of a roof, a shed roof style over a door that the neighbor has to the left of the Cuthbert house. So we feel that they are going with a style that's already present in the neighborhood as well. So it not only fits in with the architecture of the house, it also blends in very well with the neighborhood. So it goes along with historic integrity. The materials, so the workmanship, it will be custom built. Talking about the roof on this shed roof, it's going to be a metal standing seam shed roof. The wood portions will be painted in white. The roof will be in black, so it will blend in perfectly. The materials are adequate. The workmanship is as well. The overall feeling as it is defined in our code is that it is the property's expression of the aesthetic or historic sense of a particular period of time. As I said before, it meets all that criteria. So the legacy and the history of the Cuthbert house itself, not only itself, but also for the Beaufort Historic District, we believe is well represented and adheres to it. So staff recommends final approval. Our recommendations, however, with this is that the applicant submits to us some more detailed architectural drawings, including a roof plan, a section showing us the details of, for instance, the wall flashing, the fascia, the brackets, specifics like that, also the paint color, and going into the roof specifics. But overall, we feel very good about this and we recommend final approval. That's our report. Any questions?
I think that's good. We can, if nothing else, we could bring the applicant up. They can present if they'd like.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So yes, we'd like to replace the old worn out green canvas awning on the rear, which is kind of the main entrance from the parking lot area for our guests. And so what was displayed is what we'd like to build custom wood frame with a black metal awning on it, or shed roof on it rather. So what questions or what can I do? Let's see here. There we go. So I'm meeting with Historic Beaufort Foundation as well, kind of getting the scale with how they want the door framed. So we determined that 60 inches is the proper width to frame the door. The wood frame would be painted white to match the house. All our new signage that you have approved is the black with the letters in gold. So we'll go back with the black metal roof, kind of match the signage and the theme to kind of make that blend in. So anyway, it's just, what questions?
I don't have any questions. This is pretty straightforward to me.
We're just looking at the photos. Are we changing the doors?
I think it's just showing an example of the.
So that's an example of an awning that we're building on another property, and it just kind of hit me where we're kind of going through this. So
Okay.
let's scale this down and kind of get the wood workmanship with a little bit of scalping and then the brackets and stuff like that to give a little character and.
It looks like there were three options presented. Basically, alternative one, alternative two.
This is the third. That's what's on the screen right now.
Right, and you don't care about the differences between, you're happy to do whichever? Or did
I
you?
prefer to do this one now. I mean, I think everybody and Lisa and team have agreed that they like this. I think Christopher and his team agreed on this one. We're perfect, fine with going this route and having our carpenter
Great,
contractor build it.
all right. Well, I don't have any further questions.
Have any drawings been done at all, or?
No, ma'am, I use this as kind of reference of actually what has been built to
Right.
show you exactly just be scaled down to 60 inches.
No, I totally get that. I was just
Yeah.
curious if anything would be submitted prior to fabrication
If you
for somebody.
like,
to
it's
check.
basically, it's gonna be this exact, but just scaled down to the 60 inches wide by 40 inches deep, 36 inches tall. But that exact.
So this bracket detail is the one.
That's exact bracket detail we're gonna do. Unfortunately, the metal roofing wasn't on this one at the time, but you can get the idea of the
Mhm.
craftsmanship
Mhm.
on it.
And I think that's one of the staff recommendations was that they would provide architectural drawings
Yeah.
prior to final.
Yeah.
So, okay,
This is final, yes?
before they would actually build it, this would be final, yeah. So, okay, I don't have any further questions. I appreciate it.
Cool, thank you.
We'll open it up to public comment if anyone wants to come up and discuss. You guys have to race.
Hi, I'm Wallace Scarborough. I live at 1207 Bay Street. House right next door, actually, that's my little shed that's pictured right there. I've lived there for 17 years. My wife has lived there for 30 years. I want to thank this board, actually. I think this board and what you do is probably some of the most important work that's done here in Beaufort. Keeping the historic integrity of these homes is vitally important, I believe, to the economy of Beaufort and to the reason why tourists come here. So what you do is extremely important. I thank you for the time you serve on this board. I know it's an inconvenience for some people, but thank you for what you do. I also want to thank you for the notice. In the 17 years I've lived there, 30 years my wife's lived there, this is the first notice we've ever received of any work being done. So it's a good thing. And a lot of our neighbors and friends have called and said they got cards too. And we've all discussed it. And everybody that I know is in favor of it. My wife and I are much in favor of what the ROMs are trying to do here with this awning. We believe it's in keeping with the integrity of the historic nature of the neighborhood. And we're all in favor of it. So that's all I have to say.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you. I'll add that the notice, we should give thanks to the staff because they're the ones who actually do it and have been, yep.
Yeah.
So thank you, staff.
Hello, Lisa Sunderland, Stuart Beaufort Foundation. I want to thank Mr. Ram for doing this with such I think perseverance and tenacity as he has gone through the process. As Christopher said, he came before the HTRC for an awning twice. And you think this might be a simple thing, but it's important, especially from a visible location at Newcastle with this house. And as y'all know, this house has gone through significant renovation over the last couple of years. And I think those have made a huge difference with the house. So they put a lot of love and care into it. And they've done the same with the effort to make sure that the awning was correct for the architectural style, the materials were correct, and the workmanship. So we support it wholeheartedly and thank them for going through that process. Okay.
Great, thank you. Any other public comment? Anyone online?
No, sir.
All right, we can bring it up here to discuss. I would start, before we discuss this particular topic, if there's a way in the future we could just break out on the sheet, just separately, so I don't have to look through a bazillion sheets, what day the actual, a timeline of all the things the applicant went through. What day they went to HTRC, what day they went to the second HTRC, when did they submit the initial application, and then when did they finally come here, to kind of see what is the total timeline of the process for these applicants. I'd be interested in seeing.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Okay, so this topic, this seems pretty straightforward to me, so I'm not going to belabor it. Does anybody have any qualms with the thing as presented?
Yeah, I think they've done a great job. I thank you, Chris. I think the staff, this is probably one of the most thorough reports we've received in the 3 years I've been on the board. I was telling the other board members, I felt like I had been at the HTRC meetings. And so that meant a lot to me, sitting down and going over these materials. So thank you, staff, for that. But yeah, I think everything looks great.
Yeah, I agree. I think I appreciate the fact that you've gone through all the meetings and this blood, sweat and tears, but I think it'll be great. I think it'll be very appropriate for the building.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to go ahead with the shed roof, the alternate 2 shed roof awning.
All right, as
As presented, sorry.
Okay.
I second that.
All right. We have a motion and a second, so if you want to start us off, Kim, with the.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
all right. It's passed, quick and easy. Now we can move on to the second agenda item. It's 1107 Prince Street. This is, it looks like a partial demo, partial addition, and alterations. A hodgepodge of all of it.
Correct, yes, sir. Good afternoon, board members,
Good.
vice chair or acting chair. Be more
I don't know what you want to call me, whatever, whatever title, I'll take.
So I'll be presenting the staff report for 1107 Prince Street. As just stated, it is a partial demo as of right now of the existing structure. They want to enclose the existing screen porch, extend the main house footprint at the front towards Prince Street, and then also add a new screen porch and terrace. So just going through some of the slides real quick, we've got the zoning map and just the location map here on the screen. You've got your typical T4HN zoning district, or sorry, T4N zoning district for this property. Here's some street view pictures, just from the front and then from the corner. Here's just another little picture of the design. And we can leave it at this site plan for now. So just to give some additional background, so the applicant's proposing major changes, the partial demolition. The existing house is a one-story one-story frame dwelling, circa 1960. It's non-contributing. The lot is about 10,000 square foot lot. The applicant has been to one HTRC meeting that was back in September 11th of last year, where they received overall positive comments with just a few suggested changes, which we will get into a little bit later. Just kind of going down here, we've got no specimen or landmark trees are being proposed to be removed. Just a single laurel oak, which as right now, this will be subject to change, but as of right now, they're never considered specimen or landmark trees, no matter how large they get. But that is something that may change with these code revisions we've been doing. The surrounding area, so you're in the northwest quadrant with this property. There's many churches and cemeteries immediately surrounding this property, which is pretty unique to it. And actually, when I was doing the research for this one, 600 Newcastle Street immediately south to it, and also the Grand Army of the Republic Hall building, which is 706 Newcastle Street. Neither of them were on the contributing or non-contributing structures list, which is probably something we'll need to take a look at. But anyways, so let's just keep on going through the slide. So here on the slide right here, you can kind of see the site plan, the proposed changes. You've got your new screen porch there on the east facade. You got the new porch on the south, the addition on the corner to the south as well. And then also the terrace there in the back. These are just some more pictures, the elevations. And just a quick note on this 3D views, you can see that in kind of the see-through buildings, it's a future carriage house and a future addition. Those are not currently being proposed at for this request. That may possibly come forward at a future date, but right now these are just more to show the addition at the front of the house and then the new screen porch as well. Here's the demolition plan. As of right now, it's mostly just the interior walls that they're proposing to demo. And so hopping into the integrity guidelines and rationales, as we have on screen, we believe that this does meet all of the guidelines. So the location, the design, the setting, the materials, the workmanship, the feeling, and the association. Because it's just a renovation, it's a lot of these aren't quite the renovations don't change these guidelines or rationales. But we have in the staff report, you know, all of the staff analysis for those. And so our staff recommendation is final approval of the proposed renovation and partial demolition with the following recommendations: that the applicant show that all windows and doors to have external grills with internal spacer bars, and then to add an additional 1 to 2 windows of either size. Staff would be in support of both sizes that are currently shown on the west facade, just in that little red area to break up that continuous stretch of blank wall.
Just to be clear, that west facade, that is the master bedroom though, correct?
I believe so.
I think that's where they would also place a window, or that's where they would place a bed.
Yeah, but they could
For
do
that
something up
footprint.
higher too.
Mhm.
So that was one of the comments that staff included in it. But and either the proposed window sizes are the ones that are currently proposed on that west facade of the smaller, the larger ones.
Okay.
But that's all I've got.
Great. Any questions for staff? No? Okay, great. I appreciate it.
Alright.
Is the applicant present to come on up?
Good afternoon, Benji Murillo. I'm the architect and I'm with Frederick and Frederick Architects. I don't really have anything to add to what Nick presented. I think he pretty much covered everything. We have seen the staff comments and I think it's a pretty reasonable request and I think we could pick those up.
Okay,
And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I have a couple questions off the bat. Can you go back a couple slides? Is it Jeremy online or?
Okay.
Or who's controlling it? One more? Okay, if you look at the screened-in porch area, the rest, it looks like there's a form of board and batten siding, except for the gabled portion of the screened-in porch, where it looks like it's a different type of siding. Is that correct, or
That,
should it all be the
it's
same?
all board and batten.
It's all board and batten, but it looks like there's like a two,
Like
1 by
wider.
2 on the seams. I don't know if, look inside the screened-in porch and see how the gable section there looks.
That horizontal piece. Or,
No, it's the vertical up at the
Vertical.
top.
oh,
It just looks like a different type of board and batten from the rest of the house.
so it's all screened all the way up to the roof and that vertical right on the center, is that what you're talking about?
No,
No, beyond. So the actual face
You
of
guys
the
see what I'm
house
talking
and that
about. Yeah, yeah.
elevation.
It just looks like they're wider planks. Boards.
you can see it in this. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay,
As well.
yeah, I'm not
Go
sure.
to, go to page, A 3.1. It might be the one right before this. Yeah, so if you look at the screened-in porch section,
The roof. Is that the roof
Oh,
coming out?
this right here?
the siding that's inside the screened-in porch, above the top plate. That looks like a different kind of board and batten.
Okay, the intention is to keep it the same.
The intention is to keep it the
Okay.
same. Okay, I just want to clarify. I thought so, but that caught me. And then it looked like it was a smooth hardy board, board and batten. Is that also
Yes,
correct?
that's
Okay.
correct.
Anybody have any questions?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Okay, thank you. We might bring you back up.
Thank you.
Thanks. Open it up to public comment. Public commenter number 1.
Hello, my name is Lisa Sundrla. I'm with Historic Beaufort Foundation. Nice to meet you all. I want to thank Benji for coming not only to the HTRC, but also meeting with our Preservation Committee on Friday. Overall, the project, our committee was in support of the plans and the direction, but they did allow me to make some other comments on my own, which I also shared with Benji and asked that he share with the owners to see if they might be interested in doing this. It looks like the building was misaged when it was the survey, and that portions of it are actually around the 1940s. With that structure. Now, I know it's not listed as contributing, but I would like to keep the character defining features if we could. So for example, the front gable return, that you can see on the part that they're going to jut out, even more, and the clapboard on that front that's going to jut out even more. So those were the 2 recommendations that I made. And not sure if Benji had a chance to talk to the owners about that, but I did want to share that. But overall, our committee was supportive of the project. Thank you.
My name is Daniel Blackman. I live at 1010 Duke Street, which is an abutter to an abutter approximately. I'm around the corner. And so I walk by this house almost every day and drive by it at least once. Overall, we're in favor of the project as far as the renovation of this house. I want to make it on the record, make sure that this does not include the ADU and the other addition. That should be very clear because it's not clear from the plan. It says future addition, but I want to make sure that the motion and the record shows that this is the front building, the home only at this point. The concerns that we had were that the horizontal striping effect vertical rather than horizontal is very unusual in the northwest quadrant. I drove around today trying to find another house that had this much vertical stripe board and batten. Almost every house has horizontal siding. So I don't think, my opinion, it would not be consistent with the northwest quadrant. Although it is a non-contributing structure, so we have to take that into account. There is a piece of on the existing house, on the porch set back, there is a piece of vertical siding, but the whole house is presently horizontal. There was some talk about the windows. I have 2/2. I think 2/2 looks good on this house. 6/6 would look good. But either one of those in the neighborhood are consistent. So overall, we support the project for expanding the house and the demolition that they need in order to connect the additions to the house. So I would also like to thank the board. I know how much time you put in. I know, particularly, I know Rita and the time that she puts in. I can tell the time that you two put in on this board from other hearings I've been at. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Can we pull up the existing condition photos again?
This one?
No, the photograph. Do
photo-
we have a photo of
there's
the
some
existing?
photos, yeah.
That,
There you go.
yeah.
I think the gentleman's talking about the right side on there has
Right.
a board and batten finish to it. Anybody else from public comment before we keep moving on? Anyone online?
Sir. No, sir.
Okay, well, we'll bring it up here for discussion. I have a few questions and concerns. There was a mention of a curb cut being required.
For the new drive?
Right, so we can talk about that. I think that the gentleman's point about the future addition and future carriage house, my understanding, I think it makes it very clear that those are not part of this submission, but because it is showing them in the plans with the submission, then we should probably make it a staff recommendation or a staff condition that they are explicitly not included. So we'll just add that just a little bit extra CYA. That's what I would think. I agreed. I think the 2/2 windows, they're everywhere in that area. I did have some heartache over the board and batten. I also don't see board and batten anywhere over there. I see lap board everywhere. So I thought that would make more sense. I don't know if the applicant is okay with going to a lap board or something more horizontal or maybe a mix. I think the Secretary of Interior Standards is pretty clear that board and batten is not typical, or it's to be used as a secondary structure like an ADU or something, not as the primary. So I was a little bit surprised that that got approval by the staff. I don't have the demo that's being recommended, I think is perfectly fine. It's nothing substantial. I did have two other questions before we all kind of jump into a discussion. There was a mention of a tree tree protection. What is that for? Yeah, come on up.
Those are just temporary posts for during construction to protect the trees during
Those are
construction.
temporary posts. Okay. I was hoping that they were temporary because they were gonna be not in keeping with the district
Right,
based on their
yeah.
construction. Yeah, okay. So good on that. And then the other question I have real quick is the Anderson 400 series windows is what's on here. My understanding is that they're a vinyl clad window.
They are.
They are vinyl clad.
Yes.
And staff is okay with saying, we're recommending that. And HBF is okay with recommending vinyl clad window.
It is non-contributing, but, and typically the standard, if it was gonna be vinyl, would be something that was either in an addition or on the rear of the structure so that it wasn't visible from the street.
Right.
And I think that there was a discussion, and I don't know if Maria or Jeremy are on the monitor. So y'all might want to address this. I think there was a discussion back in September, that same company carries some others.
They do.
uh,
Yes.
Mhm.
types that could, be appropriate, that would be more fitting.
Right. So it looked like from my understanding, it looked like they were asking for Anderson 400 for all the windows. They'd all be 2/2. They'd all be black windows, which is quite a contrast from a white grayish background, which is not commonly seen either. My heartache was a little bit over the vinyl windows. I'm philosophically in favor of going to cheaper materials so that people can renovate their homes and maintain them. I don't know that we open the floodgates for that on this project. I guess my question for the applicant would be, you speak for the applicant here, are they amenable to switching to a different type of siding or a horizontal clapboard? Are they amenable to a fiberglass clad or fiberglass window?
I could certainly propose that to the applicant. I think we're going for just the more economical, but still quality windows. Just for budget reasons. And so, yeah, I could definitely.
Okay.
Propose that. I think Marvin has kind of like a comparable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Option that's.
Yeah.
Fiberglass.
Okay. Those were okay, so bringing it back here, those were the main things that I had a little bit of heartache over. The siding and then the vinyl windows.
And the siding, I could certainly, go, ask the owners if they'd like to, go with a horizontal. But it might look kind of funny having, two different kind of sightings, especially in a small, scale house, but, it's something that I could run by them. For sure, yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, if we have more questions, we'll bring you back up.
thanks.
If I could also, it's Maria with Metters, here in the ether, but, we had some questions too about the Anderson 400 windows, but I think if it helps, it's not vinyl, I don't believe, but it's their kind of like proprietary composite material. So I think it might be kind of a step above, vinyl, but yeah, I mean, we see a lot of Marvin Elevate might be the one that you're talking about. And we see those a lot, and I think those would also be very appropriate in this situation. So if that clears anything up.
Yep, no, that's helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
So your understanding, just to be clear, is that the Anderson 400 is not a vinyl, it's some alternative composite that's proprietary?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. That's not what the website says.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, Lisa, real quick, you had mentioned something about the clapboard gable.
Yeah, the gable returns.
Okay,
That was a
Characteristic.
by the teacher.
right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think my biggest question is on the windows. Are we going to open it up to allow for these windows to be used going forward? Because we haven't in the past. I think if we approve this, that's what we're going to be doing. I like the idea, I agree with you, Eric, as far as making it more affordable to renovate some of these homes in the Northwest Quadrant. Especially, I mean, these are small homes, and to spend $300,000-$400,000 on a renovation is just crazy. But that's something we need to think about. If we approve this, we've set a precedent going forward for all.
Have enough information though to make a decision on that right now? Considering the website saying one thing, Maria's thinking it might be something else.
Well, I think we just go based on, I would go off the assumption that they're vinyl. And so we make a decision based off of that. Or we make a recommendation to the applicant. This is asking for final approval. I don't know how you guys feel about a final approval. I think it's a good project. I think, I'm 90% of it I'm in favor of. I think the main pieces of heartache for me are the horizontal, going to a horizontal siding, the vinyl windows, And then, Ms. Sunderland's comment, I think is actually correct about, incorporating a gable return. I think those are, at least the gable return is a pretty simple architectural adjustment. I don't know what the cost difference is between the Marvin Elevate and the Anderson 400, although I don't know that that is relevant.
If I could add one more thing too about just about the windows, I think the website is a little, I'm looking at it a little bit more now because again, we had looked at this back in September, but
Sure.
it's a little misleading. And I think if they really are, some places says it's vinyl and some places says it's their like composite material that's got a different name. But if they really are true vinyl windows, yeah, we wouldn't be in support of that. So
You would not be in
would
support of
not, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Could I suggest, Eric, since it sounds like you have three issues, two of which the architect has not clarified that whether they're okay with it or not, maybe suggest asking them if they would like to get a preliminary approval with these as recommendations, and then they have an opportunity to come back for a final, or from where you're going, you just give them a final approval with those conditions, right?
Yeah, what I don't want to do is I don't
They
want
have to come back.
Yeah, no,
So-
those are good points. I don't want to design it for them. I mean, if they came back and did, I know there was a comment about some horizontal, some vertical. I think it's non-contributing. It's in the northwest quadrant, so the whole thing doesn't need to look like a preservation district home. But I think probably the preponderance needs to be a horizontal clapboard. So something like that. What do y'all think?
I think it's a great design. I think you did a really nice job on it. I really would like to know more about the history of the building, like if there is any more documentation on what it was at one point. Because I think it would be nice to just be able to reference back to that. I think that's one of the important things that we do here is that, even though things change, you have that one piece, that one little memory, that little tidbit that, you can go back to. Regarding the vertical versus the horizontal siding, I'm kind of in the middle of all that, so I'm not really quite sure. I mean, I think in the design, it looks great. But it also in the design looks very tight. So it looks like, almost like T111 in the picture that I'm looking at. So it doesn't, I don't think it does it justice as a board and batten feature. Or that's what I'm pulling out of here.
Yeah, I think the theme, I don't think any of us have heartache over pushing that front out. We don't have any heartache over creating a larger front porch. There's no heartache over enclosing the existing porch on the side and then extending that. I think we're all good with that. I think we're all good with raising the roof a little bit to accommodate. So the structure and layout, I think we're all good with. I think the main points of the siding, the windows.
Yeah.
And the gable return.
I also think that the addition of some windows on that one elevation could be nice. It would certainly make it a little bit more interesting. I mean, yeah, I think that is the bedroom wall, but it's just kind of a blank, so.
It doesn't bother me as much because it's on the side and people don't see the side. We have allowed that in the past. There have been some structures that we've allowed to have a long wall based on, the preference of the homeowner
The layout, yeah.
and the layout of the rooms, so.
Yep, just one second. I would agree. Yeah, I don't wanna, I think if it messes with the layout, I'm a little hesitant, so I kind of agree with you on that, Rita. The one other question to just throw out for discussion. Once again, it's a great design, great looking building. It's a light gray with black windows. And I think the guidelines talk about stark contrast, and it would look great in Habersham,
It looked great at
on
Pigeon
print.
Point.
It would look great at Pigeon Point. I don't know that a light gray with black windows is. I'd be interested in hearing what staff thinks about that. Metters.
What's the neighborhood off of Bladen to the right, out of the it's kind of bordering the historic district, the Rainbow Row kind of neighborhood. What's that called? Was it? No, off of Bladen. Bladen.
Adventure?
Yeah, Bladen and Adventure, that little neighborhood, that pocket there.
Oh, no, I know the one you're talking about, the little houses, the little, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hilton, I think it's called.
Okay.
Hilton.
So, I mean, you'll see some of those features in that neighborhood. So if you're looking at anything different from the northwest quadrant, that would probably be.
Some new construction that has gone that way with black window surrounds. It's something we haven't supported, but that seems to be a trend.
It's definitely in
That's
style right now.
exactly the
Yeah.
trend,
Yeah,
the trend, and once you do it, you're stuck with it.
I was gonna.
Go ahead. Yeah, no,
the-
go
the
ahead.
Same thing, pretty much, yeah, I think we think it's also maybe not ideal, but it's kind of trendy, and it's also not, some fluorescent yellow kind of, extreme color, so that's kind of where we stand on that. I don't know if, Metters has any comments with the color specifically.
Yeah, I mean, not anything too strongly one way or another. Again, just if we were to go off the code alone, I mean, you can't do jarring colors or anything like that, but from a strict code perspective, there's not really any issues with it. I think paint color is one of the things that can change. But so I think, we try not to hold people too strongly to like a certain color because the next person could come along and want to completely change it. So I think we give a little bit of leeway, I think, when it comes to colors. Like, would it be our personal preference? Probably not, but I think that we just I guess give a little bit of leeway. I think maybe in a perfect world the windows could be white or something else, but um, it's just not, we're not going to hold them to, adhering to a specific color. If it's not, said so by the code. So
So the takeaway I get from you is, if I'm interpreting and editorializing a little bit, is that being that it's the northwest quadrant, it's a non-contributing structure, maybe a little bit more lenient with the interpretation of arresting or contrasting colors. I do think that it's a bit of a stark contrast and not typically seen. I certainly would not be okay with it if it was a contributing structure or preservation district.
yeah,
could-
we agree with that.
So I could, how do y'all feel about that?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think I could support final approval with the current state of it. With the siding, gable returns and
Windows.
the windows. I think it's real close. If the applicant was here and they said they don't care about the siding, we'll switch it, or we'll do some version of that, and then I'd be okay with making those conditions, but in the absence of that, I think we'd have to give like a preliminary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
So let's get a motion.
I mean, I did the last one.
An example of a motion might be,
I thought
I have to hand it off. I'm enjoying having this hammer. An example of a motion
you
might
make
be
a motion.
to give preliminary approval with staff recommendations, and then to add the additional conditions that the applicant restudy the siding, restudy the windows, consider a gable return for the front addition, and that their submission explicitly excludes the future addition and the future ADU.
I second that motion.
Am
I love it.
I
Yeah.
allowed to, can I just make that motion? Or technically no?
Oh, okay. I make a motion. I'm glad I wrote that down.
Somebody read that back.
Preliminary approval, based on staff recommendations and the revisiting of the windows, the siding, the gable roof return.
Turned, yep. And that will to make it explicit that the ADU and addition,
Oh, yeah. I
Future
have that
edition.
too. Mhm.
okay?
Yes.
I second that.
Excellent.
Okay.
Any discussion? No? Okay. You want to start us off?
Aye.
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 Okay. Got a motion and a approval,
Preliminary approval.
preliminary approval, that's right. Hopefully it doesn't take 6 months to get you back. I don't think there's anything else on the docket.
Wanted to congratulate Rita for being, or not, or give her our condolences for being reappointed to the HRB. So,
Thank you, thank you,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Excellent. All right, well. we get it.
And again, I want to thank the staff
Yes.
for great. Like it, like it.
Lots of improvement. You guys don't get thanked enough. The public doesn't know,
Yeah.
but.
And
we
to know
appreciate
that
it.
those little notices went out was just the cherry on the top. Love it.
Excellent. All right, could we get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Excellent. So
Second
moved.
it. So moved.